Hello there, everybody. How are y'all doing? It says I'm live, so yeah, I'm live. It's Thor's Day out there, so favor to us all. I mean, it's like the cold, it's just everywhere. And I hope you say that every day because if you do, it will become reality. You'll be fine. It's like when you think you're really in a bad place, you're actually in a good place. You got favor. You're always going to come out on top no matter what. You're always the head, not the tail. You're always above and not beneath. So anyway, that's my testimony, and I stand by it. So hello, everybody. Good to see you. Thank you, moderators, all of y'all. Y'all are such groovy people. And the rest of the Soul Tribe, thank you. Thank you for hitting the like button. Feed the algorithm. That's what I say. Feed the algorithm. And we are prospering indeed. It's it's amazing. If your definition and perception of prosperity is beyond just what the material defines it, baby, you're looking good. That's all I got to say. We don't want to be amongst those that are spiritually poor, poverty. You know, there is a thing called literally spiritual poverty. And I think there's a lot of that today. It's just me, but that's my opinion. Hey, folks, we got a request from one of the Soul Tribes. She just, you know, we got great people here. That's all I got to say. This is Judy Essler. Her father, Charles McKee, is in the hospital, and she is asking for prayers, thoughts, meditations, energy to be focused in on her dad. She loves her dad a lot. We all do. He apparently is suffering from a number of things, primarily disorientated, and that happens. It's real interesting, and I'll just, before we get into this and give that energy, with, for instance, UTIs, urinary tract infections. That's why drink lots of fluids, folks. Water. Someone wrote, said, well, does that include whiskey? I said, oh, well, let's just put water. Keep yourself hydrated. That's the thing. Because it's interesting as you continue on in life, and this, by the way, happens at 30, whatever, it can make you become disorientated. It's very interesting how the two. So keep yourself hydrated. So, Judy, we're just going to take some time here and just going to focus in on your dad. And we're just going to speak to Charles. The spirit realm knows no distance or no time. It's all the same. A thought. How do you, I saw back in 1998, I was at a conference that Gates was at. And at the time, we thought he was God. Co-God. There was, Jobs as well. But anyway, he had a thing about business at the speed of thought. And thought, I mean, it is the wormhole. Anyway, I digress. So, Charles, we just speak to you, brother. She says her dad is a very laid back. I think he's probably fit very well within this group. And, so I am certain that his spirit it's there. And she said, if you would just simply pray, send energy, healing energy, thought energy around her father. She said, if it's his time to make the transition, then so be it. And Judy, wherever your father is at, and I still think he's still very much in the body. We're just speaking to him now. And Charles, we're just saying, listen, we're speaking healing to your body. Your body is an energy vessel. And so if you need some jumper cables, to add a little bit to the energy, we're sending it to you, brother, in truckloads. I mean, it's just all over you. And if it's time to make that transition, of which we all will eventually do, in fact, if the future exists, I'm going to talk about that today. It's already happened. So let us know, Judy. I have a sense of peace within me. I think your dad's digging it. That's just my take. So let us know. And thank you all. I appreciate that. Tonight on the Steiger Perspective, artistverse.com, 10 p.m. Eastern. Find your time zone, 8 p.m. here in the Mountain West, where it is cold. Gotta tell you, got down to 0 degrees this morning. So it is supposed to be winter, and our perpetual Indian summer has come to an end. So who knows? This may last all the way into July. Wouldn't that be something, seeing snow? And no, don't even speak that. That would be a catastrophe of monumental proportions. But tonight, Jenny joins me, and Jennifer Roberts, Miss True Divine 44. So yeah, it's titled, "What if the experiment goes wrong?" Anyone think of that? It's like, hello. Anyone ever think of that? Yeah. So tune it in. Angel card for today is Mahael. This is the angel of inspiration. And here's an interesting word: vivification. Yeah. How many people have you gone in a daily conversation and say, well, may I speak about the vivification of the situation? I'm going to look at you and go, what? What the hell are you talking about? This is the God who vivifies all things, patron of the written and spoken word. Now, I just pulled this card randomly, but what's interesting, we're going to get into this too. Hey, the co-pilot's here. He says, how y'all doing, man? Need a hug? He says this is what I think of the situation. That's how much. Says, I love you that much. So put a smile on your face. And if you need to, buy a teddy bear from David Barry, because he's got Soul Tribe teddy bears. And quite frankly, every one of you, if you're watching this, should have a Soul Tribe teddy bear riding co-pilot. That's all I got to say. Now, my little dude, he's been with me for decades. He is indeed my sky pilot. But getting to where I was heading, all on this angel card. So I was up late last night reading, just about finished a book that we're going to be talking about, but I also ordered this one and do have it in PDF. We're going to get back into the word magic, because I believe we've entered into, I don't know, a space, an energy field, a time shift. I don't know what you want to call it. Do you want to call it interdimensional, parallel interdimensional inner time? Who the hell knows? I don't know. But I do know this: words have power. Words have effect. Words can shape your future. Now, here's an interesting question. we're going to be talking about history, the Tatari culture. I mean, they existed. The damn thing is, why did they remove them? You know, it's like this Cecil B. DeMille movie with Charleston Heston as Moses. And Pharaoh says, I shall strike the name of Moses from every record, from every monument. Y'all remember that. I mean, you know, hell, we grew up on it. You know, they erased them. And it's the damnedest thing. I mean, it doesn't make sense. It's like this gap. But nevertheless, we are in a time where words affect things. Now, the question is, does the future really exist? Hello, everybody. I can see the panel over here. It's a little different. But much love to everybody. Susie Q, all of you. There's so much love to all of you. I'm still getting used to this thing over here on the side. So bear with me. Is this my second day on this one? If you know what I mean. But does the future really exist? Think about it. How can the future exist? If the future exists, then again, it means our lives are of no meaning at all. Because we can verify the past. We damn sure can't verify anything beyond the present. Now, we can project. We invent stuff that helps create this reality. We invent this thing called time, and it is an invention of time, of man. I don't think time exists outside of man. Now, there could be other definitions of passing, but time, and if time is predicated as past, present, and future, then we got a problem here, Houston. Because the future cannot exist. The only way that the future can exist is, again, if we invent it. We invented time that allows us to have some sense of stability. You leave the earth and everything is going to be predicated. For instance, let's say you go to the next solar system. Well, no one there is going to have any idea what the hell you're talking about when you talk about time. Earth time. That time doesn't exist. So how can the future exist? It's this strange thing. I had a weird dream last night. I was reading, got this other book in on Tatari on the mud flood. And this is an interesting cat. He's a Russian dude and went through virtually, I made it almost to the end. And yeah, there's some real mind coitus going on. And it got me to thinking about the future. Because if the future exists, then I'm already dead. You're already dead. In fact, I am living the future's past. But I'm not aware of that future. I can place myself into the past. I can train myself to create a future and put myself into it and then begin to speak it forward to make it come to pass, because I am creating in the midst of a cauldron where there are billions. They say that each and every one of us have, get this, on average, about 70,000 thoughts a day. Now, multiply 70,000 thoughts by 7.5 billion. Then multiply that by 365. You can begin to see what's happening here. Now, we seem to be in a pre-programmed environment that allows us to create within it. And so then again, that's why it's important for those who write our history that they help implant in us that we write their future, not ours. The whole thing with programming, it's happening now. I mean, mass psychosis is what they're calling it. We're good at that. In fact, because of instant communication, we pass social psychoses all the time. The crazy challenges that you used to see on social media, that is a social psychosis. It's a sickness. But it shows how easily manipulated. So getting back all the way to this subject of freaking time, whose time? What time? And does the future really exist? Good evidence that it doesn't. Or, if it does, then what are we doing? Besides driving off a freaking cliff as a species, well, what are we doing? Yeah. So, love to see your comments on that. Do you really believe that there's a future? I mean, of course, the counter argument would be, well, if there isn't a future, there's only the present, then even the past is an illusion. Because it's very obvious somebody been messing in the kitchen and they screwed it up. Time. I believe that if time does exist, and we're obviously immersed into it, time may be more fragile than what we ever conceived time to be. Going to quote the Christmas story here. Time is the fragile. Time is fragile. Anyway, getting back to this cool angel, it says it fills us with inspiration of heaven to help us as we traverse through this world. I can dig that. Brings a great sensitivity. And I believe I got that. Give me a second. Yeah. Sensitivity and a deep understanding of all things. Teach us how to carry our projects, helps to and achieve life goals. Allows to get rid of physical or mental fatigue. Well, that's cool. All right. Restores your body and regenerates your spirit. I contend that, if we could just simply recharge our spirits, I wonder if there would be a transmutation that if I recharge my spirit, in other words, I have a reservoir of unlimited energy, and instead of allowing the energy to deplete me, because this is what this realm does, it feeds off of our energy. But yet, we can turn that and do that reverse osmosis. We can feed off of it. But I digress. But if I recharge my spirit, Wouldn't my body be a benefactor of that? Just saying. It's just a thought. Jeez. Facilitates rhetoric and, excuse me. Yeah, that's what it says in book publishing. Fosters the development of technology, symbol of revitalization, fills us with energy to create beautiful things thanks to the imagination. Love it. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. How are y'all? I'm having fun, gotta say. Because if you aren't, then come on. You know, they say it's called work, but I don't know about you. I enjoy perfecting a craft. You know, they said in, I believe it was November, 4.5 million people quit their jobs. Wow, that got me to thinking about that as well. So the question is, you know, are you fulfilled? Is life satisfying? When you're preparing your exit, are you going to leave fully satisfied? Content? Yeah. I intend to. As I said, I have favor. Favor's been with me since the day I entered into this realm. And as I've looked back, what appeared to be to my harm ended up being to my profit. That's far out. I don't care where you come from. That is far out. Hey, Blazing River, how you doing? Good to see you. Saw your email. Everything is groovy. I just, you know, I am derelict in my responsibility of answering all the emails. And, you know, it just is what it is. It's not that I don't love y'all. I appreciate them and I get to most of them, but yeah, sometimes it falls between the cracks. Isn't the truth? Jackie says, I am now content and satisfied since I met. Oh, man. Now that brings tears to my eyes. You see, since I met the Soul Tribe. Wow. I get a lot of that. You know, there's a lot of love here. That's all I got to say. And it's not just, you know, rhetoric, you know, it's not a cliche. It's an actuality. It exists here. This is the caringest group of people I have met. And, you know, yeah, I mean, you know, on this channel, 7 years, been doing this noonday show for 5 years now. And it's grown a community that it's an eclectic group. Some of the most beautiful spirit beings I've met in this journey. Yeah. What's the song by Sinatra? Strangers in the night, passing, you know, but here, when we're passing, we go, hey, whoa, 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 how you doing? You know, you're, hey, Marie, how are you doing, dear? You know, it's kind of like, you know, man, I dig your vibe. And then the next thing you know, we're finding out that, yeah, the vibe is, you know, is the tribe. And we're not only surviving, I mean, we're thriving. I would say that if you were to probably poll this group and then allow those outside, you know, psychologists, and we do have 2 I know of that professional psychologist, psychiatrist as well, 1 in each, watch this show. And I think that if we were to do a poll, I would say that probably this group would rank very high on this cohesive community, that sense of feeling. It's very strong here. The vibe is like, it's like really something else. Yeah. Mark Smith says, I need hugs. Well, you know what? Trina and I do that a lot of times we'll do that again. Cause I'm sure Trina, honey, you need a hug too. Give a virtual hug to you and to Randy and everyone else there and all the rest, Judy as well. I mean, we can hug each other in the spirit. I mean, that is outside any freaking physical thing. You know what I'm saying? It's going so by quick here. It's like, man, y'all write too fast. There's an option you can do. Y'all know that you can slow down the chat, but why? That's what I just say. Why? Okay. Moving on. Got some good stuff to share. I want to say as well, give a thank you to Faranza, who lives in Bangladesh. He won one of the free giveaways over the holiday, and he wanted to gift that to me. And Karen told me about this last week. Queen of Quartz. Karen, how cold is it up there now? Damn, if it's 0 degrees here, don't tell me it's 60 degrees already. But anyway, he gifted that to me, and I just want to say, Faranza, thank you. I've known him for some time, and it shows the diversity of this community, this group of beautiful spirit beings. We're all over the world in places that you wouldn't think. We're even in Iran. Yeah. How about that? Us. They let us in. Holy crap. But it's all because of y'all. Y'all done this. I mean, what? It takes a community, right? Takes individuals. And this is a beautiful group of individuals I've ever met. So cheers, whatever your favorite libation may be. Let's get into some topics. So as I was looking, and I got to go up here, got to remember all this stuff. So let's see. Okay. So I have to hit this. And well, let's see what's happening here. Give me 1 second. Okay. Let's get in here. As he says, I'm still learning to drive this thing. All right, so we want to go. Boom, 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 boom. If I hit that, and you have to give me a second. Let's see if it's going to do that. I don't want that. It's odd because, they say you're having issues. We're having issues. Houston, we have a problem here. Not sure why it's doing that. But anyway, talk amongst yourself as I'm figuring this thing out. And that is not what I am wanting. Well, okay. I guess I won't be sharing. All right. I don't want that. Maybe if, let me see if I take that away. And now, but then it will go there. So I think I'm in a screen, if I am correct, right? I am not in, am I in that screen? I'll have to see. I think I am. Well, how about that? Got there. Yeah. So we're going to get back. Oh, it's probably a couple week down the road, but I want to get back and get into, this is the, I think this is the 6th book of Moses, if I'm correct on this. Yeah. And the reason why you can say, well, why are you showing us this? Well, it's because this is related to time as well. I mean, if this actually happened, and if these angels, and this is a very old book, I mean, it goes way back, but who knows how far way back goes anymore? I don't know. It seems to be relative. Yeah, sure. But I thought it would be interesting. We're going to revisit this because we talk about the angels all the time. And if you never saw this series that I did, you should check this out, because again, if this time existed, let's say the Nephilim, the Raphaim, if they existed and if they were a byproduct of these beings, and if those beings still apparently have an impact on our species DNA specifically, because here's the problem. There are no humans left. There haven't been. If in fact that the human race was in fact impregnated with a altered outside DNA that binded to our DNA, then I think it's been a hell of a ride. So anyway, we're going to get into that. Now, I want to get into this book. This is Project Aquarius. And the reason why I'm showing this, and I just want to make sure, yes, it's showing. Ta-da! Look at me strutting my stuff. Well, I still don't have it quite figured out, Brandon, but I'm getting there. So S4 now is becoming all the thing. The coalition of conspiracy theories, a lot going on, because it's not Area 51. It is supposedly this facility outside the Dugway proving grounds, that where, according to this doctor who worked in the S4 facility, we had the military specifically had a prisoner. They captured an alien being, and this place is a place that is facilitated. It's an intake center, number one. It's a reverse engineering lab, number two, of when they catch ETs, and apparently we're not the only one that's caught them. This is a place where they bring them. Now, it is the background, and you can see it goes all the way down, many different levels. Each level gets increasingly tighter security. Again, extremely detailed layout of each part of this facility, what type of security is allowed, what is not. The story of the red and blue lines is that you are given a badge, and if that badge is coded, you don't go outside those lines. You follow that line. Apparently, you toe the line. So just real quick, because I want to this go somewhere. So they have the hangar bays of the captured craft. Apparently, we have a number of them. We've reversed the technology. What we see today that we think is in our arsenal is outdated. They are way ahead of that. It is said that a lot of that information came from this facility by the being that played a major role where this doctor was concerned. Now, I'm going through it rather quick, and as you can see, the type of craft, whether they are the TR3s, whether these are the triangles that they're seeing, we're seeing them everywhere. Now, what makes this more of interest is what happened with a device, and this is how they load the saucer craft into and how they launch. Interesting. And I'm not, speaking to the validity of this at all. I could comment on another book that I used to believe was the absolute truth, but we all find out that that's not true. So they captured a device that they call the looking glass. Now, the thing about the looking glass device is, and there it is, this device apparently works on a quantum level, may even be beyond quantum, who knows, that alters time. And how it alters time is that it allows the individual who is there, and you can see what happens. There is what we call the constant flow. It's almost as if you were looking at a conduit that had electricity flowing through it, and you were able to see that electricity flowing. Most electricity, as you know, it can't be seen. It's invisible. But anyway, so within the flow of time, you can manipulate it. But the problem is the paradox that it produces. It is said we screwed up time. And now we're in this it's almost like an echo chamber where timelines are becoming jumbled. Now, apparently, and this is a depiction of what the device looks like, because I keep on thinking, all right, so Tatari existed. It apparently was one of the largest kingdoms ever of the modern era. Their technology, their knowledge is lost to us today. But yet it doesn't make sense. This whole mud flood doesn't make sense, but yet there is evidence that shows that there was something that happened. Now, I keep coming back to this device because and if you want the PDF, I have it. So you can see there's a pad here and there's a pad here. Now, what it does is that once it's activated, how it changes time is that it does not physically change time. What it allows the viewer to see is an unlimited potential of possibilities of what we would define the future. The future is apparently not set. It doesn't coalesce until it makes the transition into the present. Weird. But anyway, it is said that the story goes that someone screwed up. Someone saw a potentiality of a potential possibility of a future event, and apparently manipulated that knowledge to ensure that that timeline was going to be followed. And it knee-jerked us, whiplash. Some say that we also didn't do ourselves any favors when we were exploding atomic and then a neutron bomb into our atmosphere. That apparently did, in fact, get the attention of, if you believe the story, of this apparently galactic council. But anyway, all right. So I've spent some time on this one. It's an interesting read. You can determine for yourself what is true, what is not. They will give you the total protocol of what happens when an extraterrestrial, an EBI, is captured. They have strict protocol containment. Apparently, this doctor with one of these beings, this cat right here, apparently got into a mind meld of one of these EBIs, and yeah, jacked with him, man, jacked with him. That's all I can say. But it's a possibility now. I mean, it's just something to think about. If this event happened, then it kind of then brings in to this. The story is that the real possibility is that you and I are living the post-apocalyptic prediction spoken about and so often in the book of Revelation. And that it's not ended. And it's just a theory, a hypothesis that, well, if prophecy is true, then we have a problem, because prophecy then is the script. And if there is a script, it must be played out by something, someone, somehow, in order for the prophetic events to happen. Again, going back to this whole idea, does the future actually exist? Is it something that's nothing more than an undefined, it's the ether. It's like when one of the Star Trek Next Generations, when the Enterprise with the time traveler went to the place beyond this universe. It went to a place of what the traveler said is the realm of unlimited potential possibility. And the thing about it is that your thought immediately created the reality around you. So if you had a being that maybe was from that realm who came into this physical realm carrying that knowledge, imagine that being could set up virtually a never-ending rulership, and they wouldn't be any more knowledgeable of it. And again, so there's three possibilities in the apocalypse. I know this comes with time again, because if there is cataclysms that happen on a regular cycle, then are we saying then that those cycles, which we can look at the past and see, are a guarantee of a future, that within that future, is it already defined, and then we're merely having to adapt to it? It said the global media environments provide three possible answers. The end of the world will happen. 2, the end of the world will not happen. Or 3, the end of the world has already happened. Or more precisely, the end of the known world has happened. It's end of the world we thought we knew, forcing us to confront a new world and worldview that many find terrifying and devoid of meaning. I want to stop right here, because this allows me to go back, and it's interesting because this is worth stopping to think about. If in fact something happened, I mean, if you look at what history has taught us, and I don't think they've taught us history at all. I think I saw that with a beloved abstract who said, history is a story, and a story can be changed. Apparently, so can history, if history is the story. So something for instance, World War II, there is what Hollywood has projected for us. You think about it. World War II was the mainstay of attraction, particularly for Americans. The Brits were the same. The French and the Germans, they had a problem. They were dealing with the madness up close and personal. But nevertheless, the war was primetime entertainment. You would go to your local cinema. You would probably get the matinee feature on a Saturday, cost you a nickel to go in. You usually got 2 movies for that nickel, but the key thing was the movie time where they brought you up to date in color, black and white, the war. We got to see the bombings. We got to see the killings. We got to see the machines, the tanks, the airplanes. See, this was major entertainment. And the whole time that the audiences were watching this, it was a pre-program going on. But my point is that that war was more documented than any other war previously to that. We have footage of World War I, but not to the extent that we did with World War II. And when you stop and look back on this, it gets really odd. In fact, in some events, there are soldiers that have stories of, and again, this is just putting out that what's already out there, that the Germans were well keen and focused in on this thing called time. Yeah, they had the technology of, and it wasn't anti-gravity, it was anti-magnetic. And we know, if you can do your own research, we know how they achieved it. You get 2 polarized plates and you put that in between a sheet of mercury and you begin to reverse spin the 2 plates upon that film of mercury, and it begins to do some weird stuff. Like it changes, it forms a bubble. It's sparking blue and it emits a blue hue. Now, some soldiers report that in certain parts where they were conducting these experiments, they encountered a shift in time. Most recently over on Mud Fossil University's channel, did y'all see the Panther tank that they found? I believe it was, I think it may have been Austria. Don't quote me on this. May have been another one of those other countries around there. But how many of you have seen that? So they were into forest, apparently, that hadn't been traversed since apparently the war, World War II. And the individuals that were in this hiking party found they could see the top, the turret of this Panther tank, German. The weird thing is, when they began to dig down where the surface was on the tank, everything below the tank had turned to stone. Petrified. Now, I don't know what your explanation for that is. I don't know either. I know that they're after, and we're going to continue. Tomorrow will be Friday Musing Day, just going through the muses of what I've read here. In this book, The Paintings of Da Vinci, I found this interesting. Here it is about 1:30 in the morning, and I'm reading this, and he's got some interesting stuff here, man. I mean, They say the story of the Jesus character is a time anomaly. But let me get back to Da Vinci. So when they began to do the detailed laserography, they found out something about Da Vinci that made it unhuman. What they found in his paintings, and the reason why they know that how they can always tell a forgery, is that in most of these Renaissance paintings, and we're talking about Da Vinci, but many of the artists of that time, was that they left brushstrokes, and you could feel with sensitivity almost the type of brush that they were using. And under this laser spectroscopy, they can see how the colors, the hues, how they were blended. But the thing with Da Vinci is that with his works, each aspect of the painting is of such detailed and so thin that it's impossible we can't do it today. And it's the layers. And the art world is still shocked. They don't know how. They don't know how he did it, but he did this. And his paintings, you can't feel any brush strokes. In fact, there are none. The laser spectroscopy shows it's like, they say it's almost like it was put down by a laser. And it is so thin, the veneer, it can't be duplicated. It hasn't been duplicated. So what was going on? Got no idea. No idea at all. But it's this thing of time. And the more you start thinking, David Barry wrote and says, watch out going down this rabbit hole. I've already been down the rabbit hole, David, and you're with me. So we're all together down the rabbit hole. I mean, this is not an individual journey. This is like a group tour bus. And out the window to your side, you'll notice that is called the Cavern of Possibilities. And as we continue to move through this, well, I don't know what you want to call it. No, you can't smoke back there. Get that damn thing up, choices. I like rabbits. So here we are. Spend a wonderful hour again on this, but and I haven't gotten to where, the Tatarians. I mean, all right, so we look at the world expeditions. I know now how to get the PowerPoints up, and we're going to get into that. But that's another weird thing. So at the same time that we have these world expositions in cities why would you put a world exposition in Louisville, Kentucky? And this is back in the 1850s. Why would you build an exact replica, to the square inch of the Parthenon in Nashville? And not only that, but you create this futuristic, God, I don't know, it's beyond Victorian. It's revivalist in its point. But these buildings, and the thing about the Parthenon, was in the video industry at the time, and actually did a project where we actually got to go into the guts of it. Wow. You can't help, I don't care what anyone says, when you see Zeus standing there, it's as if the energy of that entity still lives when you immediately connect to it. It's active. It's, I think it has, again, that's how gods exist, is by our devotion, our recognition of them. And then someone says, well, I only worship the one true God. Well, whatever that God may be. But it wouldn't exist if you didn't worship it, if you didn't pay attention to it. I get it. Hey, Blazing River. No, I did not. I have to look into that. At the San Francisco, yeah. San Francisco is another weird one. I mean, the stories just go on and on and on. I just said there's some weird stuff going on, folks. I'm just telling you. Time ain't what we think it is. And ain't that just a great word, ain't? My fifth grade teacher, Miss Buttons, would have rapped me on the knuckles using such a word. I was just looking at this thing and it goes by so quick. They do, as I was going to go, St. Louis 1904 is another one. Yeah, it's doesn't make sense. It doesn't. And all over this cat, like I said, some of the stuff that he wrote, yeah, I can, and I'm trying to get this. It's in French. And my French, although I took it for 2 years, is, well, so the bombings of World War II did more than just what we thought. There's some weird stuff on there. But if you go back and look at those pictures, what we don't see is in the reconstruction of those cities throughout Germany, all through Europe. It's when they were rebuilding that they started digging down, and holy shit, what they found was not the ground, dirt. No, they found buildings. Some of these buildings apparently show some sort of a flood, a mud flood. It's very odd because when you look at the buildings close, because, listen, all right, so I wanted to be a little weird architect, right? You gave me a contract, I can build a 6-story building. Well, I'm going to really jack with your mind, I'm going to put on the bottom floor windows in it. And I'm going to put a door there too. In fact, I'm going to put many doors that are all going to be below ground. Are you going to let me spend your money and build your building and put windows that are basically below ground? And a door that leads where? I mean, what is the window bringing in? You're going, sure. Yeah, that's exactly how it happened. Hey, Teresa, how you doing? I like I said, I'm still getting used to this. Y'all, you ladies know how it. But anyway, this is fun. Tomorrow is going to be musing day because I've got a number of other musing things to go through, because I don't know, folks, may very well be that we ain't where we think we are. I mean, I'm looking at the map and they told us we were right here. No. They told us we were right there in the dot. But I don't think we're in that dot. If we're the dot, I think we're lost. I think we just kind of really just went off here, and then we went off here. We're just all over the place going, yeah. But hey, this is reality. Sure it is. All right, tune in tonight over the Steiger perspective. You'll enjoy the conversation Jenny and I had. And as she said, well, this is real different. There's no censorship. I said, yeah, I know. There is no. She says, I like this. And I said, I know. Isn't it great when you can actually talk with no censorship? Oh, my God. All right, folks. Thank you again. Much love to you all. Just speaking favor, prosperity. You're always the head. You're never the tail. You always come above. Always you're above, never beneath. And you're always the top, never the bottom. So there, that's how I look at it. Much love to all of you. Thank you for hitting the like button. Thank you, moderators. And thank you, the Soul Tribe. That's all I got to say. All right, see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.